Welcome by the world of Tantra and our first vlog. This is my wife, Freya Bosman,
And this is my husband, Mr. Niels Bosman.
Super Swami Niels Bosman. Yes, we have decided to do a few vlogs on relationships on YouTube. That's the first one, so super welcome. And in this vlog, we're going to talk about relationships.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk and we're going to play a little bit about the masculine and feminine.
These dynamics between the masculine and feminine in a relationship, how do they play out? And there's so much information about masculine and feminine. How do you use it? Are you like, how do you use it? It's like really interesting. I'm really interested in this topic.
Yeah. And there is so, like you said, there's so much theory, but like, let's skip all the theory and all the political correctness and just like dive into it.
Yes.
Because you've done a lot of studies about how to be in your masculine and how to get into your masculine. Do you want to tell some of your preparation for your masculine before we start our relationship?
Ooh, that's a good. That's a good. First of all, I wanna mention this right here, like that you say like that masculine part of me. Of course, I am more like dominantly masculine guy. If you see me walking in the street, although I have long hair and I wear rings and but my energy is mainly masculine. So I will definitely talk about masculine, but I feel really like that balanced masculine and feminine in myself is the most important to be a complete human being, but also a complete lover. And so I think that's first of all that I want to mention that is most important for me to have those sides, my masculine and my inner feminine, balanced. And I've recently, I think I made big shifts, babe. Like you can maybe see that as well. Big shifts in also in my feminine and how to get my feminine out, because what we are used to do, like as guys, is just suppress our feminine like big time. And I think that's like man up and be a man, don't cry. There was a little bit of the light was going
Flimmering
weird.
because it's
Yeah.
Let's
Maybe yes,
better.
perfect.
on your side also, babe.
Wow, this is so much better.
Yes.
Yes, my inner feminine. I've just did so much work lately on my inner feminine. Also, the way I look, the way I dress. She calls me a cross-dresser now. Like, can you believe it? Like cross-dresser, like Mr. Niels Bosman.
Not fully, but yes, you wear a lot of female clothes also.
Yeah.
Yes, but I'm not married to a cross-dresser. You're not
No.
a cross-dresser.
I'm not a cross-dresser.
No.
Okay, back to the subject. I think the inner feminine and inner masculine, the balance which we find in ourselves is really, really important. So.
Yes, and then I would also like to add on to that a little bit, because I really understand what you're speaking about, and it really sounds very beautiful, and it is very beautiful, and you have a very beautiful feminine side, and I have a very beautiful masculine side, and I love when we meet in the different polarities.
Maybe you can explain that. What do you mean when we meet in a different polarity?
Yeah, absolutely. But I also just want to mention this first, which is like, I also truly believe that there is so much imbalance in the masculine and the feminine out there, which is, and this might, I don't know, it's a blog, you can say anything.
Yeah.
There is a lot of, there is a lot of imbalance in the masculine and the feminine out there, and there is a lot of masculinity, like unbalanced and unhealthy masculinity for the females, and it's a lot of men that suppresses their like true like power, and which becomes more like a weak masculine, which are not really getting able to express themselves and be themselves fully. So they are having a feminine side in them, which is very strong. And, you know, like in the society of Scandinavia, it's so much equality that you're going to do the same, earn the same money. You know, like there is, the polarity kind of switches with that. It doesn't really get the big polarity. So I believe that even though, as you say, you know, like finding the feminine side, which is like the healthy feminine side, which balances up, because we are in, you know, like, yeah, we are energy and we are masculine and feminine, but I am also a woman, first and foremost. So I think it is like, for me, I used so many years with going into femininity. Like taking away so much of this maybe, you know, nobody needs to do what I did it very intense. Like I took away like the masculine exercises that I had in my daily life. I took away, you know, like the way that I eat. I changed the way that I eat to be more in the feminine flow, like for years, you know, practice to get into the feminine, and also change the way I worked and everything. You don't need to go so extreme like that, but I think to fall into the feminine, like sometimes you need to first go deep into what is your natural, like boobs, pussy. I become, you know, like really truly a woman, and then my masculine, the side that, you know, makes me not just be a woman and lay on the grass the whole day, but there also is a side of me that makes me, you know, like pay the bills, get up, have a focus.
Can I first, before we dive into it, because it's a really interesting topic, and you know, I want to dive into it, but first, a little bit more exploration of the problem. Where what is the problem that like shows up in a lot of relationships, I think, where people nowadays, you mentioned it already, but I don't think people are necessarily familiar with these things, and maybe not everybody's aware what's happening. Why do we or I experience these problems in life or in my relationship? So what is the problems about the maybe too strong masculine side in and lots of feminine women, and the too much of a like kind of a pussy in man, like don't man up, like just being controlled by the woman, or not being able to stand up for themselves. You know, these are problems which I can definitely feel and see in society.
Yeah, so I think it really also comes to this, like you have, like we practice a lot, like, or practice that sometimes, but we can switch this, so it doesn't mean, and it can also be a polarity relationship where the woman is the masculine and the male is the feminine, and, you know, maybe you don't need to use labels and blah, 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 but we're just going to go with it and really speak what we think here.
Yeah.
So, you have one that is the giver and one that is the receiver. And maybe on the physical outside, you can really see that one is doing something for the other person. Like, for example, carrying the bags, opening the doors, booking the tickets, having paid the bills, you know, like, and then you can, of course, share the responsibility, but it's like, or massaging each other. So, for example, if you are massaging me and you're giving me massage, and then I cannot really receive it because I feel like, oh, he's giving me something, so I need to give back at this moment. So instead of just going into it and like, oh, feel that hand on my body and really indulge in that, you know, really, really like, okay, wow, he's giving me something right now. He's like touching my body, feel how that feel, enjoy it. And really just embrace it with all my being, then it becomes a gift to you as well. But if I also want to be doing at the same time, and I start to rub your shoulder, then that kind of, I cannot really enjoy the sensation fully, and you cannot stay, you don't get to stay present.
Yeah, this is really interesting. So do you also say, like in like now we're talking about massaging, but also when we walk around and we're doing daily things, like do you also think that one needs to be there needs to be always polarity, like one needs to be like the masculine and one needs to be the feminine, so the receiver and the giver?
Yeah, but do you remember what happened yesterday? We are checking out of the hotel.
Yeah.
And I'm so used to, like always stealing, talking, blah, 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 so I just tell them that we are checking out tomorrow and start to organizing something that you have already organized. And you get upset about that. It becomes a trigger. And I think that because then you say, oh yeah, then you are controlling. That's how it feels for you. But for me, it's also this being in the masculine and taking care of things. And I've been taking care of a lot of things these last weeks. So it's like in this taking care mindset. But then it becomes like this clashing. Because you have already done it. You have not completely told me, but I can, I'm so used to. I think it is also like to really rely on somebody that they have done that for you, It's also vulnerable, but it's also allows you to be this person instead of you feeling that I come in and do the same thing.
Yeah, so what I see here, and that's also why yesterday got triggered, is like I get a lot of my self-worth in the things I do. So for example, I arrange that I go to the reception and I make sure we check out tomorrow. So I got that task. I got that task. So I did that, and I was like, feeling good about it. And then the next day you are going to do that again, and then I feel like, wow, I was not doing it right because you didn't trust me or whatever. So that's a triggers in so we get a lot of dignity, a lot of our self-worth out of the doing. That's interesting how to work with that together.
And you can always change things up, but I also think it is beautiful, that the masculine also really, and this is really wants to build the walls, want to build a foundation, want to be the support, want to have this. It's almost like, and I can really see you doing that also. We have the baby in the belly, it's just, it's taking so well care of, creating the foundation for us to grow on from there. And it really touches me to be feminine and to be able to, relax the amount that I'm being able to relax and to flow and to just let go, and you stand there and
Yeah, beautiful. And also I think, this whole feminine masculine discussion, it's also a bit it's sometimes also very off, because you are like what I said in the beginning, you have a masculine side and a feminine side. I have a masculine side and a feminine, and the whole day we also just persons, and you can use your masculine and your feminine and almost at the same moment. So it's so in that way it's also it may be not so important, but for polarity, obviously, for the polarity, for attraction, I think then the I need to feel seen in my masculine core, in my masculine qualities, I'm able to give, to maybe decide even, in some way, not that I decide everything we do, but to have control, or if you don't know, okay, well, let's go left. If we don't know it, we follow the masculine. I don't know, but that's what I feel that's important for me.
I can just say that I worked on my it's also been worked, or releasing or letting go into. I've spent years doing that. Yes. I spent years going into my feminine. I spent years saying I will not create anything until the time is right and it's born, and then all of a sudden I can create like crazy, but it happens from stillness, but it actually happens from years of it being inside the preparation. The feminine is like having the baby, I say I'm tired, it's just to relax, the baby will come, So I think it also really, and then I experience that people can say that I am the most feminine woman while I'm energetically in my masculine and making love with them, and they still feel that I'm so feminine because it's a balance in there. But I really spent a lot of time to also get into the feminine,
Yeah, and I really
And to
feel that
nurture
with
that.
you. I really feel that with you, that you were like so surrendered into your feminine that you just like you're just talking and flowing and also let me like often you let me carry the bags. Yeah, you love to receive that. That's also a lot of women cannot really receive like the things we actually want to give. But also that's the receiving of like, for example, carrying the bags. And that comes also with like taking direction and also being able to receive the direction of the masculine. And that's a point I feel like that's often very much off between a lots of couples and between a lot of man and woman. That like women are like too much in the masculine decision making, like always like always being in charge. We're going to do this now, and man, that they're gonna lean back, and that's fucking terrible. Like to be in that position where like your wife like fucking makes the decisions about almost everything. That's like just not healthy. Do we need to like be the boss always? No. Do we need to make all decisions? No, of course not. That's not it. It's not about that. But it's more about the taking control from your core. And also, like for example, with packing the bags this morning, like we were both like a little bit flowing, and nothing was happening. It's like and then I feel my masculine core is like just like, okay, babe, now we're gonna do this. We're gonna pack this bag, and then like just fucking push through, and that's also really a quality for the masculine. Like have this goal, like okay, we are gonna reach this. Like I think often in our lives is a lot of inspiration, a lot of ideas. They come from her. We like maybe I have like also a really big vision about like how we want to live our life really big, but then a lot of things happening in flow, a lot of ideas coming from her, from let's do this or let's do that. Like a feminine is really good at like feeling into what needs to happen now. And that
the
also
intuition.
Yeah, the intuition and doing things from love, doing things from the heart, what needs to happen right now. And I think that's really, really important to come from that space and to have this feminine quality, which also can be in me, by the way. But if you are more in the feminine and more in the masculine, often good ideas or good things come from you, and I need to fucking listen and just listen, be strong, be still. And if we have an idea and we say, that's a good fucking idea, let's do that, then I can fucking make sure it will happen.
Yeah, then you are good at making happen, because I feel almost like I could live in the present moment and not make any plans. Like that would be so relaxing.
Yeah, and I'll take care of the how we plan the day, what we're gonna do, like and yeah.
And now I see we've gone 18 minutes, so let's wrap it up. Let's try to keep it short, but we could go on for hours with this.
Yeah, and I felt we just getting
started. Yes, yes, but we'd make a part 2 then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall we make part 2 or?
So let's make a part 2 as we dive in deeper. But right from now, is there anything you need to do just to wrap it up?
I just want to say I love you.
Yeah.
From a very balanced masculine and feminine.
I'm just gonna press the button and say see you soon.